a system making its way here into the Northland, and that's going to be bringing in some rain. We're already seeing it this morning. You see here, especially making its way from further south in northwest Wisconsin on the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin, going up towards the Twin Ports and Ely. Right now has dissipated a bit, but we're going to continue to see some scattered showers as we head into the afternoon, and that's when we're also going to see a couple storms as well make their way on through and continue as we head into the overnight hours. Now, any storms we do see today, they're probably not going to be severe. However, there is a very small chance for you guys once you get into Itasca and Kookachi counties can see a severe thunderstorm again. Pretty low chance, but it is there. And we're going to have a bit of a break as we get into tomorrow for our Thursday. We've got plenty of sunshine, though that's not going to remain the case as we get to Friday. Late Friday going into Saturday, can start to see some storms make a return as a cold front starts to make its way on through. Continue seeing action as we go through the day on Saturday. Even seeing some rain on Sunday and Monday potentially, again in a scattered nature. And you can see here from our severe outlook as we get to Friday. Now, it's conditional threat. That means it's not sure if they are going to fire off, but the ingredients are there. So if we do see storms as we get into Friday evening, can see some damaging wind and some hail, especially the further west yard where we do have that slight risk in place. So something to keep an eye on, especially as we head towards the weekend. Not only are we going to see damaging winds and hail, we might even see a bit of a marginal risk for some excessive rainfall here, mostly for the western half as we go into Friday. Going to transition to the eastern half as we get into Saturday. So keep an eye on potential flash flooding as well. And now we're going to switch our gears to air quality because that's the thing that's been sticking around since last week. And it is forecasted to be unhealthy for those of a sensor group for a lot of us around Lake Superior. So just keep an eye on that. We might see a little bit of ozone as well in these counties here. So we're going to have to deal with that air quality being a little bad for today once again. But we are going to see clearing thanks to southerly winds. And they're going to be blustery, 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts, maybe even more at times, which is why we do have these beach hazards. So if we're going to be on the beach today, just be cautious. There's going to be some high waves as well as some rip currents potentially around western Lake Superior. And we're going to temperatures today, well, with the rain and everything, going to stay pretty seasonal into the 70s once again in Minnesota. Once you get towards northwest Wisconsin into the UP, that's where we're going to be getting into the lower half of the 80s. But look at this. You can see that we'll be pushing warmer once we get towards the end of the week pretty quickly and then start to settle off once we get beyond the weekend. And by the time we get to Friday, look at this. We're going to be getting 80s, lower half of the 90s for us. So it's going to be pretty hot outside, putting us 10 to 15 degrees above the seasonal average. And this is going to be pretty humid as well. Look at these dew points getting to the 60s and even 70s, which means we do have to look at the heat impacts. We're going to see moderate impacts right now for northern Minnesota. Once we get into northwest Wisconsin and UP, we're expecting major impacts. When I say moderate major impacts, when it's moderate, that means those who are sensitive to the heat, who don't have adequate hydration or access to cooling, will be impacted. But once it's major, that means anyone's likely to be impacted. So just keep an eye on the forecast as we get to the weekend on that heat, and just listen to your body. We don't want to have any heat exhaustion or things like that. And if we look at our 7-day forecast, so it is going to be warming up as we head towards the end. We just kind of talked about that. The rain's not going to end yet, but as we get into next week, it will start to calm down and hopefully start to cool down as well.